All right, mate, how you doing? Welcome back to another video. It's getting to that time of year. The Premier League season is about to kick off. One thing I haven't done for a long time, I'm sure a lot of you at home are in the same camp as me, is I haven't been doing Fantasy Premier League enough the last few years. Same thing always happens to me. I start it, I'm super keen. I miss a week because I've forgotten, and then I say, I'm done. I'm not doing it anymore because I'm so annoyed that I dropped points. One man sitting opposite me who is a Fantasy Premier League aficionado and absolutely loves it is my brother Seb. You back in for another year?
Oh, absolutely. I'm looking forward to this, man. This is a new video for you. You don't really do fantasy, do you, to be fair? You're always we used to have a Brotherhood League and you're always like, oh, stop playing it now. So it ends up becoming between me and Saunders normally in the Brotherhood League. Yeah,
I've decided I'm going to get back on it this year. I'm going to do my best to stick on it. And, you know, I'm playing real life fantasy football with hashtags, so sometimes I don't do it, but I'm going to do it this year. But this video is actually about me building my team. I consider myself, I wouldn't say a novice, but certainly nowhere near as experienced as this as Seb.
I would call you a novice.
You've been doing this religiously for what, 15, 20 years?
Well, I used to play a lot of fantasy football back in the day. I do fantasy golf as well, so I like fantasy sports. Back in the day, there was a Yahoo game where you got points for successful crosses, tackles won, winning a corner, it's stat overload. I used to love that. I used to play that at uni. Don't do that anymore. I just play this FPL one. And yeah, I get way too into it, to be honest.
Yeah, so Seb's going to give me some advice. I'm going to build my team or show you the team that I've built. And obviously, I'm a bit rusty. There's probably going to be some schoolboy errors in there. We're going to go through the team. Seb's going to tell me what I could do, maybe do better, and if I've maybe not thought about certain aspects. So I've got the basics. I understand the basics, but you've actually had some pretty decent results in
I've had some good results. I've been last year I was top 30k in the world out of about 5 million, so that's pretty decent. And previously at one point I was top 80. That was a long time ago.
In the world,
yes, but I'm not. As I said, there are a lot of people who are much higher at this than me, but I do take a much keener interest than you. So I'm hopeful that I'll have a few. I'll win all my mini leagues basically. I think out of 6 mini leagues I was in last year, I only didn't win one of them. Okay. So I normally win my mini leagues. So yeah, I hope might be able to give you a few steers potentially.
Yeah, definitely. Let's get into it. I'm going to jump into mini leagues this year as well. I've been invited for a few. We'll create one for this channel as well. Check out the link in the description if you want to join it. Seb will be in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll be in there with the team we're making right now. Obviously, I might change it a little bit later, if you know what I mean. And you guys can get in there as well. So check out the links. Right, starting off, goalkeeper. So obviously, 100 million to spend on the Fantasy Premier League. And the first fixtures, one thing we've got to point out is some teams aren't playing.
No.
So the two big Manchester clubs aren't playing, which is crucial. As a result, I've not gone with any of them for my goalkeepers. So I've got a cheap keeper and a cheaper keeper that I think will play. The main one being Arrizabalaga. A bit of a gamble, because there's still a chance that Chelsea go and sign a keeper. We don't know for sure. I'm going to get, and I can obviously change it if I need to. It's unlimited transfers before the season starts, isn't it? I'm hoping he's going to stay as number one. I think at 5 million, that's not bad, because I think Chelsea will be a little bit more solid at the back. And then I've got Nyland, Aston Villa. I'm not even sure if he's starting for them as my backup keeper. Essentially, I'm starting first week with Kepa as my keeper. What do you think?
I don't like it.
You don't like it?
I don't like it at all. The Chelsea defence has got room for improvement, but they've got a lot of new players to bring in. And their defence wasn't great statistically last year. There's a lot better players for the same or less money than Kepa.
Well, who are you looking at as a 5 million goalkeeper?
So I'm looking at 4.5s. So you've got...
better than Kepa,
right,
4.5.
Right, so we've got to remember, Alisson got the most clean sheets last year. He was barely inside the top 10 for goalkeeper points. So it's not just about clean sheets. It's also about getting the save points and bonus points. So busy goalkeepers that can occasionally keep clean sheets tend to do better. So last year, Nick Pope was the best performing goalkeeper.
He's 5.5 though.
Yeah, he's 5. I'm not suggesting him. The guys you're looking at really would be people like McCarthy, Southampton, 4.5. Improved their defence recently, did quite well after lockdown. You'd be looking at Ryan at Brighton. They're the guys that I think you can get a better value and would equally outperform Kepa. Not many sort of dedicated fantasy managers, much like Kepa, I'll be honest. I think the 0.5 million you can save on him is going to be well spent elsewhere. But I like the idea. My strategy normally is to go for a cheap goalkeeper and then a bargain basement goalkeeper as the chance to play. A lot of people last year did the two Brighton goalkeepers double up, 4.5 and a 4. So if the one didn't play, the backup came in. So you always had a goalkeeper who was going to play.
Brighton.
Yeah, but he got good points. Lots of save points, kept some clean sheets. Look at the stats, they did quite well. Ryan was one of the most highly owned goalkeepers of all last year.
Yeah, I'm looking at the points again now. So I'll be honest, I did what probably a lot of people do when they make their team, is I looked at their prices and then went off my genuine thought. Sometimes I looked at how many points they got last year, but now already I'm looking at Kepa. He got 90 points last year, but he did get dropped a few times.
The thing is, you got to remember, is you're also using up a Chelsea spot. Chelsea this year could be very exciting going forward. if at some point you might want to triple up on him. Do you want to use one of the goalkeeper slots when there's other positions you could put him in?
Let's go forward to the 5 defenders I have the option of choosing. I've gone with Saliba at Arsenal. Now, a bit of a gamble. He's 4.5, which is very cheap. I assumed he was going to start for them this year. Now I'm starting to think maybe there's some intel that says he's not, because obviously they've brought in Gabriel, the centre-back, as well. They've been a bit active in that area. I wasn't sure if he'd start. Peters is then there. Robertson's the main one. We obviously know Robertson and Alexander-Arnold are the big hitters as defenders. Eric Dyer, I've gone with mainly because of the Spurs documentary. I feel like Mourinho likes him, and he's a midfielder predominantly that can play centre-back. Because he's a centre-back in that, it might help him get more points. If he does get an assist or even a goal, which is rare, but 5 million is not too expensive. And then Cody from Wolves, who I quite like. I think he'll be in my team every week. Did all right last year, 118 points. They've got clean sheets in them. Recently, England call-up. Murder me.
Okay, don't like Cody, don't like Dyer. Peters won't play first week, but again, you've got 5 defenders there. You might only play 3 of them, so it's not a big deal to have. A lot of players will maybe store a Man City, Man United or a Burnley player on the bench for the first few game weeks and then bring him in later to save having to transfer him back in later. So you might store one. You probably won't see anyone doing that with like an expensive player, but you could do that with Peters. However, Peters may not start himself. He was filling in a bit last year. Right, this year, there are a plethora of great value 4.5 defenders. Right, I'll name just a few of them for you. Vinagre at Wolves will probably play, even with the signing, could play left or right wing back, could do the Doherty job or the left-sided job this year while there's an injury. One of the Wolves fullbacks is injured, going to be out for about 3 or 4 months. So Vinagre at 4.5 is going to get a wing-back role in one of the better defences in the league last year. He's currently the most highly owned player in the game in that strategy, in that position, even including the entire FPL database. He's the 4th most highly owned player in the whole game right now. Vinagre. Obviously, don't mind Trent at all. Justin is.
I haven't got Trent. I've got
Robertson, obviously. Yeah. So Trent and Robertson. Trent is undoubtedly the better pick, but he's more expensive.
Yeah.
So if you want to spread the money elsewhere, Robertson is a great shout. A lot of people may have both.
Would you have neither, or do you have to have one?
No, for me, you have to have. I would probably not really want to not have Trent, just because I think he's got that extra goal scoring potential that Robertson maybe doesn't have. Although Robertson's great. The biggest thing is sometimes what people don't look at is they compare defenders with defenders. You could easily put a bargain basement 4 player in there who's never going to get off your bench, and then you could make, is there a better 7 million player than Robertson in midfield? Like, is he, if you just think of him as a midfielder, he's basically playing in midfield for Liverpool, right? So anyway, I'm happy with that. Dyer, absolutely no way. He's not going to get any attacking returns. He's going to get yellow cards. He's not a midfielder playing further up the field that's going to be in an attacking sense. So it's a bit of a waste of a pick for me. I think the 5 million, look at the other fullbacks like Justin at Leicester. Again, he's going to play, we believe, as it stands right now, one of the fullback positions. Leicester are lacking a lot of players. Johnny Evans is banned for the start of the season. They've got some other injuries, but it's still, they've got very good fixes. So he's only 4.5. You've got Kyle Walker-Peters at Southampton. He's only 4.5. You've got Bernardo, 4 million at Brighton. Eiling and Dallas at Leeds, who play a little bit more attacking. They've got some not half decent, half bad fixtures, and people think they could be the Sheffield United this year. Basically, there's a lot of options. My defence this year will probably be a handful of 4.5s, a Trent or a Robertson, and then maybe one of the 4 million rated Crystal Palace fullbacks. You've got Mitchell, or you've got Ferguson, who's currently injured, but again, if he's going to sit on your bench, if he's only injured for a few weeks, he can be injured on the bench, right? So yeah, I think Saliba probably not nailed on, and I think there's other 4.5s who've got equal potential who are nailed on, certainly to start with. But if Saliba does get the nod, you could be ahead of the curve there, and he could be a great player to have.
Yeah. So it's easy to tear my team apart right now, but obviously I've spent certain money here based on what my midfield and attack have as well. So let's look at the midfield.
Okay, let's do it.
I'll spend some serious money in here for players that, let's be honest, are really attacking players, but because of the way the game works, are registered as midfielders. I've gone big for Aubameyang, 12 million. 12 million on Salah as well. Both can take penalties as well, which is good. Salah more than Alba maybe. St Maximin is a cheap option, I think, for Newcastle. Is likely to play a lot of games, 5.5. Romeo is literally there making up the numbers, but 4.5 mil. I don't think he's going to get a lot of points, but he does play. And then Son. Again, I feel like Son's going to be a crucial part of Tottenham's attack. Mourinho's first full season in charge. So I think there's a lot of points in my midfield.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, most players that play the game seriously will be going in with both Salah and Aubameyang. The question for them is which one do you captain? That's the big thing, right? Most people will be going big on them. And I like the rest of it. Tottenham's fixtures are great. The only question with Son, and he's someone I'm considering for my team, is we still don't know under Mourinho whether he's playing further wide and he's getting forward less. He's been playing up front in pre-season. That's because Harry Kane's been self-isolating. He's not been able to play as much, and he's been with England, so he missed another fit friendly there. So we don't know. If Son plays further forward with Harry Kane, he's a no-brainer at 9 million. But is he playing wide? Not sure on that. But Spurs fixtures are great. So Maximin, I love that pick. Salah and Aubameyang, again, I think you have to have them for the first few weeks anyway. Romeo, again, I think Southampton are looking good this year. He's a budget option in there, don't mind it. Bear in mind, one of those players is probably going to be in your bench. So, again, your midfield is looking very, very strong.
Okay, so we like the midfield. I spent a lot in the midfield, which meant my attack, I had to be a bit careful with my money. As a result, I've managed to get new boy Timo Werner in there. Always a little bit of a dangerous one when you go for a new signing who we don't know if he's Premier League proven yet, okay? But I do think Chelsea looked good, and I think he's going to be spearhead of it. I have sort of run out of money at this point, so I went Calvert-Lewin as someone I think is still going to start in Ancelotti's new look. Everton, obviously, James Rodriguez in behind as well, could be quite tasty. And then I've gone Fabio Silva, the youngster. Got no idea if he's going to get any football at Wolves. Could be a waste of $1 million there if I could go cheaper on a striker. But I felt like maybe he's got a chance of that X factor this year. But I think you're probably going to destroy me for that pick.
Oh, the Fabio Silva one I'm not keen on, because I think there's other good options that you could pick someone who's just way cheaper that just stays on the bench, or as a 5 million or maybe in a 4.5, just leave him on your bench, not going to play, and invest that money in the squad. So I think you've got areas you can improve on in the team. Calvert-Lewin I don't mind so much. I think he's good. I had him for a lot of last year. He let me down. He was awful post-lockdown, but I think with the Everton team improving, if he does keep his place in the team, he's going to do well, I think. But there are some other maybe better options that are cheaper than him. You've got Che Adams at Southampton, was really good as an option playing alongside Ings. You've got people like Mitrovic, who as much as Fulham aren't great, he's going to be all over everything. If they score goals, it's going to be through Mitrovic pretty much. Werner I love. Werner I think will be in a lot of teams. Bundesliga players have adapted well to the Premier League in the past. I think he had something like the highest expected goal stat of any player in Europe last year. He's involved in a lot of chances. He's a key to a lot of moves, so I think he'll be very, very popular. I like the Werner pick a lot. I basically think that you can save some money with your defence, and I think you can maybe upgrade one of your strikers to be someone a little bit more deadly.
Okay. Well, let's look at how I've got them lined up for the first week as well, because that's obviously an important part of it. First week, I've gone with Kepa in goal, away against Brighton for Chelsea. Back three, Saliba, don't know if he'll start. Robertson, vice-captain. Cody from Wolves, away against Sheffield United. I think Liverpool are a good bet. Hopefully at home against Leeds, I feel like they could do a number on Leeds there. But obviously you've got the Bielsa factor, like what can he come up with?
It's going to be interesting.
Four in the middle, Son, Aubameyang, Salah. Salah captain I've gone with. Obviously on penalties, I think, again, they're going to hopefully have a good game against Leeds. And then St Maximin is a bit of a wild card in there. And my front three, Fabio Silva, Calvert-Lewin and Werner, meaning I've got a bench of Nyland, probably won't play. Peters definitely won't play because Burnley aren't playing. Dyer and then Romeo. There's basically no points on the bench whatsoever.
The issue you've got there is you've got no points on the bench, but equally you've got maybe 3 players in your starting 11 who might not play either. You've got to make a decision. Some people pick their team to last them 6-8 game weeks. The first wildcard has to be used before game week 16 this year. So you've got not that long for you have to wildcard anyway if you're going to use it. Some people will go in there picking a team for the first 3 weeks and they're going to wildcard after week 4 because they know they've learnt a lot. The transfer window's come in, more people have come in, they've learnt about people's systems, they've learnt who started well, and they go in and they just pick a team for the first 3 game weeks, sack the rest off, and they know they're going to game week wildcard straight away. I've probably tried to keep my options open, have the ability to do that. So like one thing you're seeing some people do is like store a few Man City or Man United players on the bench so that when they do come back and their fixtures are quite good, like Man United come back in with Palace straight away, they don't have to use a -4 hit to get them in and a transfer. So they're stored on the bench. Like right now, there's 2 cheaper players you can have on the bench. You could have Dyer, you could have cheaper on the bench. Romeo, you could have cheaper on the bench. You could upgrade players in your team. So game week 2, obviously Man City and Man United come in. Now everyone's playing again then. Man City haven't got a great fixture. So if people are storing people on the bench, it's normally going to be a Man United player.
Chelsea, Liverpool as well.
It's a tough one. So
Arsenal look a good bet first few games.
Arsenal are big. A lot of people will have Aubameyang, then he'll come straight out game week 3 for probably a De Bruyne because Arsenal's fixtures change and then De Bruyne's fixtures start getting good. So it's an easy switch. That's the other thing you've got to think about is how you're going to replace certain players when you need to. Like if you've got players at weird little price points like Fabio Silva at 5.5, if you want to change him and you've got no money in the bank, who are you going to change him to? You've got very little options. Sometimes I'd like at the beginning of the season to have 0.5 left in the bank so you can be a bit flexible up or down with someone.
Give me a mark out of 10 for this team from a novice angle.
6.
6 out of 10.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of room for improvement, but I think you've got the things you've got right are the key things. Like the 3 probably highest owned players this year for the start: Werner, Aubameyang, Salah. You've got those right.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they are obvious ones, but you've got a good core of your team. But defense and goalkeeper are the key areas for you to get right.
Well, Seb, I appreciate the feedback, of course. I look forward to seeing you in our league.
Watch now, Saliba, Fabio Silva, and San Maximum all get hat-tricks first game week.
Well, this is the thing.
I don't mind San Maximum, to be fair.
I think they'll have good seasons. I think Saliba, when he plays, will be a very good addition for Arsenal. I think Fabio Silva's got a lot of potential, but I'm probably thinking with too much of a long-term head.
You know what will be a fun challenge, though? Is for us to all have second teams where you have to just leave the team the whole season. You can't make any transfers. See how you get on.
Some people do that, don't they?
There is a statistic model. There's a team you could have picked last year and never made a single change. It would have won the whole FPL.
Wow.
Yeah, I've seen it online somewhere. It would have been the winner by like 50 points. But obviously that's the captain being in certain positions. But not a single transfer made all year and you could win FPL.
That's amazing. Guys, let me know what you think of this video. Let me know if you think I've had a shocker or if you think I'm onto something with my team. What transfer should I do? I'm going to be making some small adjustments. So if you do join our league, don't be surprised to see if this team changes a little bit over the next few days, because I'm still working it out here and getting rid of all the kinks in the system, because it's her first time playing for a few years now. But I'm looking forward to seeing you in the league, Seb. Let's do some battle. Let us know in the comments if you have enjoyed a fantasy football video, because we haven't done anything like this in quite some time. Maybe we could do a mid-season review with Seb and see how you're getting on, see how I'm getting on.
See how far you beat me by.
I very much doubt that. But subscribe for more. Check out Seb's channel. Link in the description. Seb on golf. Until next time, don't go changing.